Hey everybody, Courtney here with Smitty's Fly Box, and we're going to be going over October's intermediate tying box, which is the Electric Prince. So great little variation on a old standard classic nymph pattern, Prince Nymph. I'll go ahead and get started. I'm just going to start my thread just behind the bead here. I'm going to wrap back to my tie-in point. I'll leave that hanging just above the barb of the hook. We're going to tie in our tail, and so what we got for our tail are some brown goose buyouts. I'm going to pair these so they're facing away from each other, so I'll just put them back to back. So what we end up getting is a nice little tail that forks away from itself. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this out so it's about half the length of the hook. I don't need it too long of a tail here. And I'm going to place those buyouts, so buyouts on each side of the hook. I'm going to do a loose gathering wrap up and around the tail, and then as I come down and around, I'm going to pull back towards me tight, and that'll help seat those tails right where I want them. And then I can go ahead and just start covering up each buyout excess. And I'll just wrap those into the hook shank all the way up to the bead. So that just kind of helps create just a nice even body for our underbody. I'll fold back the little excess if there is any. And then we get a nice little tail right there that's kind of forked away there. You can go ahead and help them out a little bit there. Take your fingers in there and go ahead and fork those tails out. Okay, from here we're going to add in our gold wire for our ribbing. I'm going to tie this in just behind the bead. And I'm going to keep that wire just to the side of the hook shank. Okay, so next we're going to start building up the abdomen, and I'm going to use the purple eye stubbing. You got 3 colors of eye stub in this box. Purple is kind of the staple color for this pattern, kind of that electric look, and so I'm going to go with that one. You can use any color you want though. And I'm going to dub this fairly sparse. I want to build up a little taper on this fly, and so I'm going to keep it really tight and just start to, as I wrap up towards the thorax, each wrap is almost right up against the other, or kind of even on top of the last wrap. That's going to help me build a slight taper in the fly. You don't need a lot of dubbing. It goes a very long way with just a little pinch of it. But I do like just to add that little bit of a taper to that fly. Okay, then we can go ahead and stop. I'm not going to go all the way up to the bead. I'm going to leave that thorax area undone for now. I'm going to take my wire now and just evenly wrap that through our dubbing. This will just help secure that in there as fish hit that and teeth pick at it. It'll help keep that dubbing in place for the most part. Okay, I'll trim out my wire. I always use crappy scissors for that. And then I'm going to wrap back. I'm going to create my thorax here. So I'm going to do about 1/3 of the hook here for my thorax. For my thorax, I'm going to use this more brown, this is a pheasant tail color eye stub. Give a little color variation here, a little contrast. We'll just dub that right up to the bead. Okay, then next we're going to add our little hackle here. So this is just some saddle hackle from whiting, and I'm going to just prepare a feather here. I'm going to take the stem, the butt end of that stem, and just pick a few of those fibers off so I have a nice bare stem to tie in, and I don't trap any fibers off immediately. I'll tie that in right to the side of the hook. Let that thread capture that really tight and firm. And then I'm just going to hackle this fly. So I'm just going to run that hackle around. You can help it by kind of pulling those fibers back, so they will want to lay back. And you can wrap that 2 or 3 times as you see fit. And then I'll go ahead and just tie that down. Trim off our excess there. And then I'm going to pull everything back and just slightly wrap over that to build a little thread collar and to get those hackle fibers laying back the way I want. Okay, last thing we're going to tie in are our white goose buyouts just on top. Just going to lay those. So I have them, I kind of forked them away. These are just facing, they're facing the same direction. I've just laid them across each other. And I'm going to tie these in so they extend all the way back to where the dubbing begins. And I'll hold those right there in place. Bring my thread up and around again. I like a loose wrap, and then as I come down and around, I'll pull tight. We get that nice Prince Nymph look there with those buyouts, those white buyouts. And then I'm just going to cut off a little section of those butt ends, and then from here what you can do is actually take your thumbnail and fold back these little butt ends, and then hold them with your left, and then secure those in with your thread. That just helps those from popping out, keeps them nice and strong in there. Okay, then we're ready to whip finish, and that is your electric Prince. Super good, fun pattern. I really like fishing this in the winter time. Just gives something a little different for the fish to see, and it works really well. We've used it quite a bit on our home rivers here, and it works really good. So tie some up, let us know how you guys do with them, but that is your electric Prince Nymph.